Today, I want to talk about things I suck at. Suck at may be a bit of an exaggeration since it's all relative, but giving attention to those relative weaknesses is part of how you become well-rounded. You have to learn to acknowledge your flaws without catastrophizing them. You aren't bad for having weaknesses, but working on those weaknesses is a great way to raise your floor. So, let's talk about some of my weaknesses. In every game I play, I've got issues with flexibility. I play one League of Legends champion, I play about 3 characters in Overwatch, and in CS2 I have a playstyle that I lean on heavily. And I struggle to perform in all of those games when I have to step outside of my niche. So let's go in depth a bit and see what I can do to expand my flexibility. I've been playing CS for 10 years, and this whole time I've played slow, passive roles. I like anchoring sites. I like playing to lurk. I don't like space taking. I lack confidence when I have to play in forward positions. So let's look at a game where I played a lot of forward positions. This first gun round here, I'm playing a site anchor with a UMP that I greeted, and I'm playing very aggressively here, taking this fight against this guy ramp. While I do end up getting this opening and set my team up for a 5v4, nobody else on my team is set up to help me particularly, and I've already dumped all my util, so I don't have a lot of tools left to delay. So I just kind of re-swing greedily. This is an awkward swing, it's not very clean, the movement's bad, the crosshair placement's bad, and my teammate CT is almost in position. I could have delayed by just hiding there and trying to play off something that my teammates could have set up. But instead, I take an awkward swing, and my teammates end up losing the post plan. This round is very similar to the previous round. I'm still anchoring a site, I'm still playing with a relatively weak weapon, but I played this a lot better this time. I play a lot closer, which is a lot better for the weaponry that I have, and I'm able to get my team an opening kill off of this close, strong position. And this time, instead of greeting and overfighting once I get the opening kill, I'm just going to take this AK and I'm going to hold space for my team. This round actually goes better than it probably should have, frankly. My movement here is pretty bad, and my timing on this peak is really late. I'm lucky nobody's really looking at it, so I end up hitting the shot and go unpunished for now, but as I take this underpass fight, I don't get lucky again. This is primarily a mechanical blunder in a very forward position. I'm on the right angle in time, but I end up reacting to the swing really slowly and have to flick for it, and I end up over flicking and missing what should have been a really easy shot. The key here is anticipation. I need to be more mentally ready for that fight so I don't react so slowly. This is an example of pretty bad awareness in an aggressive position. I should have noticed that this smoke is terrible as soon as it popped, but I don't. I do the immediate general reaction to a smoke in that position, which is to molly the top mid box, but that smoke had a huge gap on the right side. If I just kept holding that angle, I probably would have gotten a kill. But instead, I tried to molly the top mid box, they played the gap in the smoke, and they killed me instead. The main remedy for these types of anticipation and awareness failures is just time and experience. I've been playing this game for a long time, but not in this style, so I just don't make these obvious reads often enough. Alright, this round goes pretty poorly, but I actually really like the thought process and the idea behind this play. So I take first contact for my team as I'm coming out ramp here and end up taking a lot of space. The other team is not fighting, they're playing this really passive, so most of this space is pretty free. I get the first entry onto the site anchor and scale up towards this smoke wall. These smokes have been down for a really long time by this point, and I know they're about to fade. So I make the decision to try to play in the smokes. This goes pretty poorly, but with the smokes fading and my team not yet having planted the bomb, I needed to make some play to try to get us into a better situation in a 4v4 late round, and this could have gone really well if I just kept my composure and actually hit the spray on the guy's stairs. I just got flustered and missed an important shot under a lot of pressure. If I hit that, there's a good chance we can turn around from there. We're in overtime now, and my team has quickly fallen behind. The other team has match point, and I decided to make a bold play at solo push mid. This play can go very well when properly supported, but nobody on my team makes any effort to back this up, so I only manage a 1-for-1 trade. I could have made this play slightly higher percentage with a smoke behind me to fade back through after the kill, but the best thing possible is probably just to cancel when none of my teammates are willing to support this with util. Creating a 4v4 doesn't really favor the CTs. This is a play that helps my stat sheet more than it helps my team. Oh, it's a tie. Well, not a loss, I guess. Nothing wrong with a draw, and I end up playing okay in some positions I'm pretty uncomfortable with, but a lot of room for improvement here, and if I played that a lot better, good chance my team wins that. I'm about as flexible in League as I am in Counter-Strike, which is to say I have one specific way I like to play, and I'm pretty uncomfortable outside of that. I play mage supports, and by mage supports I mean Xerath. I only play Xerath. Xerath's a really good support in low ranks. He has a lot of carry potential, a lot of damage, and in Bronze, where everyone kind of has no hands, you can use that damage to win your games. However, he's compromising a lot of utility for that damage, and support is mainly played for its utility. So expanding my hero pool to include characters with more utility is going to be a really useful asset to me when I start moving past the level where I'm expected to carry my games out of the support role. So today's mission is simple. I'm going to watch this Nautilus video. I spent longer than I probably should have scouting out Nautilus guides on YouTube. But I'm going to watch this video, and then I'm going to play Nautilus on solo queue in fucking Bronze. That video I watched will be linked in the description for those who are curious. I'm not here to teach y'all Nautilus, I'm here to show y'all how I go about improving, and that means looking at how I approached my Nautilus game. The first thing that happens in this Nautilus game is an invade. Nautilus likes invading. His hook gives him a really good engage at level 1, and his passive can help keep enemies pinned down when nobody really has their kits online. However, this invade's going to go really poorly. Yasuo scouts it out immediately, so we're not going to be able to get a kill on this. Despite getting scouted out immediately, we make the decision to stay on this and steal the other team's blue buff. Now, this could be an okay play for my bot lane, but we're stealing the blue buff from top side instead of the red buff from bot side. So we're just nowhere near position for my lane. That means we're gonna lose a lot of lane prio, we're gonna end up down a level off of this, and all we get out of this is the other team's blue buff, which is a bit of an advantage for our jungler, but not nearly as much as the full level behind Draven and I are going to be as a result of this play. Especially considering the other team's jungler probably just stole our blue buff while we were doing this because it was so obvious and we've been here for so long. I do get Yasuo to use his flash at the very least, so I did my job, but I should have called this off a while ago. This laning phase is going kind of poorly, as you might expect, given that we started down a level and under our own turret, but Draven is also not making this easy for us, given how much poke he's taking and how willing he is to overstay situations, such as right now, where he really should be backing. He doesn't have the health to be here. But I also need to be anticipating the fact that the other team is going to come kill him with how far up he is, and I need to be ready and in position to do something about it. I also need to be more cognizant of my own health bar during this gank by Nunu. Letting Jhin get a second kill here is pretty catastrophic. Nunu makes it a 1-for-2 trade, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but it is also the worst thing in the world because Jhin has 2 kills now. And here we're going to see why it's such a big deal that Jhin got those 2 kills. Draven's been taking a lot of poke again and decides to commit to the fight against the Jhin and just dies. There's not a lot I can do about this, and seeing Nunu coming, I decided to stay and fight the Jhin pretty hard again, and I once again get killed for it. I need to not let Jhin get these kills. We go 3 for 1 this time, and suddenly that Jhin is the most powerful character in this lobby. He can kill anyone with how fed he is. That laning phase ended up going really bad for me, but now that we're into more of this mid-game situation, I think I play this a lot better. This is a good example of what I want to be looking for mid-game as Nautilus. I'm able to just camp in this bush. I know they don't have vision here. I know they want vision here, and I know my Viego's right next to me. So as soon as Soraka steps up to get this vision, it's a very immediate hook, and Viego's going to be able to get this kill, and I'm helping set up my Viego to carry this game harder later down the line. I think this is another pretty good engagement and setup for me. I'm trying to scout out the Rift Herald. I see the other team on it. I'm tanky enough that I can just walk away from this Camille and not commit heavily. But as soon as my Viego starts coming, I walk right back in, ult the Camille, and start off a trade in a fight that ends up going really well for us. My whole team's able to collapse on this engagement, and we're able to create a 3-for-1 trade. The big things I want to note here are mainly the recognition of where my teammates are and where the follow-up is when I'm engaging into fights. Just stepping up and hitting a hook is pretty meaningless if I'm by myself because, frankly, I don't do that much damage. I'm building support, not AP. And this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say that I need good follow-up. My Draven is here, but Draven is the weakest character on my team. He doesn't really do any damage. So when I hit this hook, there's no actual damage follow-up. Mordekaiser's too low. Nunu just walked away. Viego's not in position. There's no real chance that the Jhin that I hook there is actually going to die because no one who actually does damage is there to kill him for me. This isn't really Nautilus specific, but this is really greedy. I just saw 2 people in that bot side jungle. I know the other team is there. I see this ward here, and for some reason, I decide I need to break it. I get punished for this pretty hard. I don't end up dying here. I get out of this situation, but I no longer have a health bar. I can't help my team on this dragon fight anymore, and my team's going to end up losing this fight. If I still had the health to be an engagement condition for my team, we might have been able to win this fight. But instead, I just have to walk away because I have no health and my team still fights without me and loses. This is another lesson that's not necessarily Nautilus specific, and it's just about knowing when someone is beyond your help. Draven's dead there no matter what I do. There's no way I'm pinning Camille down for long enough for him to get out, and there's no way I'm killing Camille or Soraka. So I should just be moving on and getting out. And to my credit, I do move on and get out. You have to use my flash for it, but I'm safe. I'm out right now. And then I walk back in. Walking back in to help Viego here is just kind of suicidal. Anything past using my ult is just dumb. I'm feeding the other team a kill for no real reason. Viego ends up getting his and getting out, but I really shouldn't have stayed past my ult. Welcome to the final fight of the game. For all the mistakes I've made, this game's really close up into this engagement, which is just tragically bad. I don't know why I rushed this as hard as I did. I feel like I had played some decent engagements earlier in the game, but here I don't listen to any of the lessons I had previously been trying to focus on. I engaged too early. My Mordekaiser wasn't in position. My Draven was on the other side of the map. My Nunu didn't have cooldowns and was on half health, and my ult was up in 5 seconds. If I wait a little bit longer for this engagement, it might be a decent opportunity for our team. But just going in by myself without my ult is going to cost the team the game. I'm about as flexible in Overwatch as I am in League of Legends, which is to say I have one specific way I like to play and am pretty uncomfortable outside of that. I play hit scan, mainly Cassidy, Sojourner, and Ashe. That's not really a problem per se. That's an okay hero pool, but it's also not a particular asset. There's not a lot of playstyle flexibility within that pool. These heroes don't play the same, but they all play somewhat similarly. If you're a DPS player trying to get better at Overwatch, you should play Tracer. She's one of the most consistently useful heroes in the game and is frequently either in the meta or near it. She's also a hero that I've already put a lot of hours into, but she still lags behind the rest of my hero pool. Here, I'm going to watch back a map from a match I played in Face It Advanced League with my team, where I spend the entirety of this map on Tracer. This ends up being a very competitive map, but we don't pull it out in the end, and I think if I play better on Tracer here, there's a good chance we can pull this off. Here, I'm not really setting up to play my own game. I'm letting myself get bullied out of positions here by this Lucio, and I don't really have a plan in my head. I'm just kind of walking around shooting whatever on my screen. This ends up going better than it probably should have because my team's able to set up a pretty decent hit onto this Lucio, but that was more luck than anything. I'm not staging myself correctly. I'm not setting myself up for success in these fights. I just happen to run into the right position at the right time. Can credit that to instincts or something, but generally speaking, that's not a great recipe for success. Still, we end up winning this fight and getting the point flip. This is the flip side of that previous engagement. My team has a vision here for pressing up and getting early pressure onto the other team, and while I end up getting forced out of that very deep position I started in, I'm still in the right location where my team wants to try to collapse on people, and when the other team steps up, I'm there to finish off that Cassidy and get us the opening pick in the fight. My team ends up winning that point, so we're moving on to the second point of the map, up 1-0. I immediately open the second point by getting distracted and chasing a wrecking ball instead of staging myself. Applying pressure to the other team's tank is something that is a common job for a hit scan, but for a tracer, that's generally not the best use of my time. Now, my ball ends up getting booped here, so we probably don't win this fight no matter what I do, but it's still bad fundamentals. Here is just a really good mechanical play. Solo killing that Kiri and getting out afterwards is really big for my team's ability to stage into the next fight. This engagement has a lot better ideas macro-wise, but a lot of mechanical flubbing of those ideas. So taking this right lane for my team is what I need to do to try to set up an engagement onto the other team, but I immediately get marked by this other team's Lucio, and my movement getting out is pretty scuffed. I probably didn't need to use as many blinks as I did there, but this time I don't get distracted by a wrecking ball. I keep going into a hit here. I get a lot of pressure onto this other team's Kiriko and Cassidy. I get cooldowns out. I live. I get out when the other team's beating. This is all pretty good stuff. This is where I want to be in this situation, and this is how I want to be applying pressure. The problem pretty much is just that I'm not getting these trades as efficiently or effectively as possible. I missed my pulse bomb, my tracking onto the Cassidy isn't very good, so I have to use all my cooldowns on it, and now I'm in a really bad spot and I get booped off the map. That moves us into the third point, all tied up 1-1, and my staging still looks lost and confused. This is a point that has a lot more open space, which generally I don't want to operate in, so I'm just kind of sitting here. I know there is a movement option to get to this high ground that I end up walking a really long path to, but I don't know how to do it because I just haven't spent enough time practicing. So at this point, we're like 30 seconds of the game, and I haven't done anything. Now, I do end up being in the right spot to get that Cassidy killed, but I did nothing to earn that. And in large part because I'm doing so little here to actually earn my team space and earn my team any resource trades, we don't have the resources we need to take the point even though we get a trade. Not too long after, this other team's wrecking ball overextends pretty hard and we're able to punish him. So we're now in an advantaged state. We have more resources to go around the other team, but I throw it away pretty much immediately by just blinking into the middle of the other team. I need to be more patient here and more willing to set up on an angle. There's just no reason for me to face tank that when, like, 1 second later my wrecking ball will be taking that engagement for me. I'm just rushing, plain and simple. This third point ends up being pretty rough for us, and if my tracer gameplay was better, we probably would have turned this map around. I've got a lot to work on mechanically, but also with my macro. My staging was pretty poor throughout this map, and I rushed in a lot of situations where I didn't really need to, and it got me killed. The important thing now is to take into consideration these notes from today and try to be better for next time. Going through my weaknesses in review like this isn't gonna magically turn them into strengths, but it's still an important step to take. It's gonna take a lot more effort and focused gameplay to pick up these new skills, but it's a good start. We're going to come back to this in the future, I'm sure. Thank you for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this glimpse into my matchmaking journey.